Hi, today I'm back out in the woods, and as you can see from the title, I'm here to give you the feedback on my modifications on my cheap Temu hammock. Now, the modifications have been done based on issues that I've found while camping in the hammock. None of them are cosmetic, and where possible I've tried to reduce a bit of weight, but let's face it, this hammock setup, be it the Temu version or the Haven version, which it's a copy of, neither one of them are particularly light or compact. So if you're looking for a compact, lightweight solution for camping, it's probably not it. But that all being said, I'll get the hammock put up and I'll show you around the modifications I've made that make it what I think a very usable hammock. So that's the hammock up. So here is my 4 modifications I've made to this hammock. Now, the first one is the suspension system. Now, out of the bag, it comes with this sling, which is a daisy chain style. And in itself, there's nothing wrong with these. This one is a bit short. If you've got a big fat tree like this, it uses up most of it going around the tree. But for smaller trees, it's okay. And I don't have a problem with the daisy chain. What I do have a problem with is the carabiners that it comes with. This here is a steel carabiner, but it's a real cheap, nasty steel carabiner, and I wouldn't use this. Now, I've got written evidence of people having these fail, and quite a few people have had these things snap in the middle of the night. So if you're only going to do one thing to this hammock, I would say upgrade and get rid of these things. Now, personally, I would use something like that, and that's a climbing carabiner. Now, they're a little expensive, but it actually is strength tested and guaranteed. Now, if you can't afford one of those, what you could do is get one of these things, which is a screw up link, and you can buy these in most big box hardware stores. And most of the good ones also have a strength rating, and even a small one like that is incredibly strong if it's done up well. You've got to screw it up, and yes, they're not as convenient as a carabiner for clipping on and clipping off, but if money's tight and you're pushed, one of those will work. But I would recommend, if you're going to stick with the daisy chain, get some good carabiners. Now, I went a step further. I've already got a one wind 12-foot zipper hammock that uses an endless sling and cinch buckle system of suspension. So I decided I was going to continue to use the straps from my one wind hammock on this one and make a system that suits all my hammocks. So what I bought is I bought one of these. I bought a new cinch buckle on a piece of Dyneema, and that allows me to use this system, which gives me an infinite adjustment of the height and tension I can put on it. It gives you a lot more fine adjustment than the daisy chain system, which really doesn't give you a lot of adjustment. But this will work in a push. I think this is a better system. So that's my first modification, is upgrading the straps and buckles to a better system. Now, the second modification is a simple one, but a really important one, and that's the zips. Now, the zip on this hammock is not a YKK. You wouldn't expect it to be on a price point like this, but they're adequate zips, but they are a bit sticky. Straight out of the box, they're a bit sticky, and you run the risk of snagging them. So what I've done is I've lubricated the whole zip with silicone grease, and as we know, everything's better with a bit of lube. So now the zip opens nice and easy. Now, if you pitch this hammock wrong, like when the inner pad moves, you can have a situation where the pressure is on the zip. And what I'd also recommend is you don't open the zip if you've got the pressure on it, because these zips are not designed to take the weight of you in the hammock. So you need to be careful with them. I'd also recommend, like any tent zip, you don't try and do it one-handed. If you're having a problem, hold the zip with one hand, unzip it with the other. And I think if you look after these zips, they'll last the life of the thing. So a bit of lube on the zip absolutely radically changes how good this zip works. Now the third modification is the spreader poles. Now the poles that come with this are steel poles. They're heavy and there's no adjustment on them. And as you can see under this tape, I did try lengthening them to try different widths. And I've found that these poles from my shoulder width are a little bit narrow as well. So what I've come up with is I've made new poles. Let's move this out of the way. What I've done is I've repurposed 2 broken hiking poles to make an adjustable pole. They're aluminium, so they are actually quite a bit lighter than these. And in order to get the same fittings in the end, which is a screw thread, I've put 2 nutserts in the end with a nutsert tool, which allows these things to screw in. So an adjustable lightweight pole that fits and allows me to get a better tension on the hammock and allows me to get a little extra bit of width. So that's my third modification, adjustable lightweight spreader poles. Now my fourth modification is the one that started the whole thing off, and that is something to hold the sleeping pad in the hammock. The sleeping pad is structural to the hammock, and if it moves, the whole centre of gravity changes on the hammock, and that's when you end up tensioning the zip. I found it to be a big problem, and I found in the night I ended up rolling over and the pad was sliding out and I was like face down in the net. I tried a few things. Initially I looked at using the poppers that are on the side of the hammock here, and I considered putting a row of poppers into the hammock, but after looking at it, I realised that they would probably weaken the hammock in a single line, and I think I would create a tear. So I decided against that. I also tried, as somebody recommended in the comments, sticky Velcro, and it works to a point. But this being very flexible, after a while, the sticky Velcro worked its way off. So almost, but not quite. What I ended up going with is a strap. And I have a strap here and a strap here, 2 straps that go over the mattress and cinch the hammock up against the mattress. Now, they are stitched across the seam, but they're also glued in with CA glue. And my experience of working with nylon straps and nylon material is that CA glue makes an incredibly strong bond. It's kind of hard to believe how good a bond it makes, but some CA glue on there, carefully applied and then held in place, and you'll feel the nylon getting hot as a chemical reaction takes place, and it is an incredibly good bond. I've coupled it with a stitch, a row of stitching in line with the actual stitching on the hammock itself, and that's been done that side and that side, and I have an adjustable cinch buckle here that allows me to tighten it up. And what I do is I blow the mattress up with the straps loose, and when it's gone to full shape and size, I just cinch these up, not too tight, and that mattress will not move. That has cured it completely, and it takes away any risk of overloading the zip and changes in the centre of gravity. So that's my fourth modification. Well, there you go. There are my 4 modifications that I think make this a usable hammock. So before I go, I'll just answer a couple of 3 questions that have been asked about the hammock. Firstly, do I think that you can use this with other sleeping mats? Because it would be great. It would be great to be able to use my R9 rated pad in here, use it in the winter. Unfortunately, no, none of them work. They have to be the same dimensions of the pad, because the pad is structural and it holds the mattress, holds the hammock apart. And every other pad I've tried in it, even my wide pad, doesn't work, and it changes the way that the hammock lies. So no, I'm afraid not. You could maybe put a pad underneath the mattress possibly, or on the top, but my experience is 2 pads, one on top of the other, I get that sliding effect again. So I'm afraid it's under quilt, or what I've been doing is I put a foam mat underneath this, and I've only really used it in summer conditions. But no, you can't use it with different pads, and equally you can't use it without that air mattress in. Really doesn't work without it in. Second question was, do I have a link for it? Now, I bought it on Temu, and take a look at how it looks. That's the only way you're going to find it. Put in flat lie hammock and you'll find it. Temu links change all the time, and I'm afraid when I bought it, the link is no longer working. So you're just going to have to go into Temu, search for a flat lie hammock and find one that looks like that. That is the best I can do. And the third question is this a rip-off? Is this a rip-off of a Haven XL? Well, yeah, it is. Do I think it's a rip-off? No, I don't. This is quite affordable. Yes, it's come from China, but here in the UK, to import a Haven hammock that comes from America, but I suspect was also made in China, is about £500 or something ridiculous like that. And I think at the other end of the spectrum, I think that's probably a bit of a rip-off too. So yes, it is a clone of a Haven XL, but no, I actually think it's quite good value for money. So there you go. There's my kind of working review and modifications of the Temu Haven Clone hammock. I hope you enjoyed that.